Hi, glad you stopped by today. My name is Clint Maki. I'm the author of GoMichiganRealEstate.com. And today what we want to talk about short sale process. What is the short sale process? Why does it take so darn long, and why is it so difficult to get a short sale process sometimes? Now, I've done a bunch of short sales. I don't even know how many at this point, but dozens and dozens of them. I've bought them for myself as investments. I've sold them to home buyers, builders, investors, people that want to flip. I've done quite a few different foreclosures and short sales, and every one of them is different. That's the worst part about this. The hardest part for most people to understand is that this process is different for every single property that's out there, because everybody's in a different financial position and everyone has a different reason for buying and for selling. So every situation is different, but I'm going to lay out the general timelines and some general principles about what's going to happen during the short sale process for both the buyer and the seller. And I'm going to try to keep this really brief, so I'm going to have to cover a lot of stuff very quickly, and I'm going to whip right through this as fast as I can. The rest of it you'll have to contact me for if you have needs. You need to sell your own property, you want to buy some short sale properties or a foreclosure. You'll have to get a hold of me through the information that's on the either tag below me or in the article next to me. Wherever it is that you're seeing this, either in writing or in print, this will be distributed throughout the internet through various venues. So here's what happens when people start thinking about going into foreclosure, or they're already there. And typically it begins with someone saying, I can't afford my payment. So at that point, the process will begin. They'll say, I can't afford my payment. They may have had a layoff or a job interruption at this point. Some kind of economic situation comes along, or maybe even sometimes they just decided, we don't want this anymore, we don't want to make this enormous payment, and they just give it up. They just say, screw it, we're done. So the whole timeline kind of goes like this, and at the closing is where the realtor gets paid, this is good, the buyer gets the property, and the seller gets relieved of some or all of their financial burden, and they get to move on with their life, and the bank is made whole. A short sale is a process by which the owner of the house is allowed to sell their house at an amount short of what they owe on it. That's simple. There's a lot of properties out there that have a first and a second mortgage, so we need to negotiate those two together to make sure that they are forgiven at the same time, and we have the blessing of both the first lender and the second lender. So here's the general process. When someone says, I'm all done making my payments, typically what the bank will do is they'll send by a broker or an agent to do a BPO. That's a broker price opinion. It's basically an informal appraisal on the property, and it gives the lender an idea whether or not they're going to make any money on the property. The answer is almost always no, and they have someone assigned to the file who's called a loss mitigator, and I have different names for these people. Almost always they do not know what they're doing, so they need a real estate broker to help them along. So don't ever try to do a short sale on your own thinking you're going to save some money or make some money on your own. They don't want to deal with the general public. They want a real estate broker involved in this process, so get someone who's experienced in short sales, who knows what they're doing. Do not just list it with whoever comes along. There are a lot of agents out there that don't care, that don't know what they're doing, have not had special training, have never bought a house like this or sold one. So be careful who you list your house with. So you're going to list your house, list that property with a broker who actually knows how to do a short sale. And you're going to decide on a price that is reasonable for today's market. So you're going to figure out what would it sell for today. It doesn't matter what you owe on the property. If you owe $200,000, you want to find out what do you think it's really going to sell for. If the number's 150, 150 is the price. The bank has got to eat the difference. So you list it at a price, and then you're going to keep reducing the price on that property until you finally get an offer on the property. So when you get an offer on the property, make sure that you have a good buyer, someone that's ready, willing, and able to suffer through the process with you. I've had them close in 8 days, and I've had them go 8 months. We don't know how long it's going to take. It depends on everybody's willingness to play along, everybody's willingness to go along with the process. There's paperwork that you'll need to submit, and hopefully it's been submitted in this time period. If not, you'll need to refresh it, and there's paperwork that needs to be sent to your lender, the lender of the home. And They need to review your tax statements, your reason for being behind on the mortgage, your check stubs, your checking accounts, all of that to make sure you're not hiding money on them, basically. So there's a specific package you have to fill out. I have that package in my office. Most realtors that know what they're doing have this package on their computer, and they can email it to you. You can get started right now on that. So you're going to have all that paperwork done. The purchase agreement is submitted along with that paperwork, and it is reviewed by the loss mitigation department. This is where it takes a long time because they will order another BPO, probably more BPOs than is necessary, several of them, to make sure that they are getting a fair deal on the house, to make sure that this property is something that they want to let go for the price that is offered. So the offer price doesn't even necessarily matter. So if you owe $200,000 and they offer you $100,000, it is not unusual for the lender to take that offer and run at 50%. It's not unusual at all. I've had them take 25%. Depends on the property, depends on the buyer. Good solid buyer, a property that they know that they don't want back. It takes them a long time and a lot of money to foreclose. They're going to do the math and find out what it takes. So this could take months to review. In that meantime, it's very likely that this paperwork will need to be updated yet again. So 2 or 3 or 4 times you may end up sending in your check stubs, your checking account copies, updating your tax information, sending them another letter. So it's important that you have a good realtor to review this entire process. You have someone that has a staff that will take care of it and make sure that the paperwork is up to snuff, that everybody's moving along, and then will nudge this process along, make sure that they have a good relationship with the loss mitigation specialist at the bank. And when it gets to closing, you have got to be ready. You have got to be ready to close on this. The buyer has got to put their financing in when they get the offer accepted. They have to make their loan application, and they have got to be able to close it within 30 days, because typically what happens is these loss mitigation people will approve it, and they'll give 30 days to close it. And in that 30-day window, you've got to close. And what does an FHA loan take? Typically 6 weeks to 8 weeks to close. So you've got to have yourself ready to fire in between there. You've got to camp out for the long haul. You've got to be willing to go along with the process, and you have to accept the fact that it's very likely that there will be problems. There's a possibility you won't even get the house. So if you're going to involve yourself in the short sale process, you've got to be able to go through this whole process and know that it could take 3, 6, 9 months to get it done, but it's worth it. Let me tell you, it's worth it. I have bought houses for 25 cents on the dollar, fixed them a little bit, and flipped them over. I'm living in a house right now that we bought for half of what it cost to build. It's a beautiful home in a beautiful neighborhood. It is completely worth it if you're willing to go through the process. But by all means, get yourself an expert. Get someone in the real estate industry that knows what they're doing where you are in your area, that can help you either go through the sale process or the buying process. And if you do, you will not be sorry in the long run. It is time to go ahead and reestablish your equity in a property, and buying a short sale or a foreclosure is a great way to do it. If you've got the financial means and the good credit, you can do this. Just have to find someone to go through the process with you. My name is Clint Maki. I specialize in foreclosures and short sales. Alleviating people's financial stress and burden is one of the reasons that I practice real estate right now. We can help you at my office. The information to contact me is going to be posted in the article or in the video that you're watching right now. You can look me up online. My real estate YouTube channel is Realtor Clint, so you can view my other short sale and foreclosure information videos at Realtor Clint on YouTube. You can look me up, just Google me, Clint, M-A-K-I. You'll find me, there's no doubt about it. My name is Clint Maki, and I'm so glad you stopped by today. I hope that I have made your life easier in some way. Visit GoMichiganRealEstate.com for a lot of other resources, listings that are for sale, and to generally get a hold of me. We'll see what we can do to help you. My name is Clint Maki. Thanks for tuning in.